Hey guys and girls, it's Russ from RussHelpPTI.com. 2 or 3 weeks back, we did a video here for our YouTube followers showing 5 simple tips to help you lose weight and keep it off forever. And today we're going to show you the second video. Working as a fitness instructor, this is easily the #1 question I get asked, how to lose weight, how to lose fat and keep it off once it's gone. There's so much nonsense out there, we figured we'd do a short series, 2 or 3 videos showing 10 to 15 of the proven, time-tested steps to lose fat and keep it off forever. You apply these tips to your diet, they will work. It's as simple as that, okay? The feedback we've had from that first video has been pretty awesome. We've really enjoyed reading the emails, the comments and the messages on our Facebook page. Now, what I like to do is I split the tips up into 3 videos because I figure if we do all in one video, people tend to zone out and they don't really apply any of the tips. It's too much, we don't want to change everything overnight. So by applying those first 5 tips for just 2 to 3 weeks, we've already had messages from men and women saying, I've been trying to lose weight all this time, I've never understood how to do it before, it's always seemed a bit too scientific, and now 2 weeks later, I'm starting to get results. So if you haven't seen that video yet, before you watch this one, go check out the first one, start applying those tips, and then come back to this in about 2 or 3 weeks. It's an easier way to start getting results rather than trying to do everything in one go. That's what we found in the gym anyway. For those of you ready for the second video, today's video includes 5 more steps, and some of these are my own personal favourites. Again, they're all proven, there's no gimmicks, it's just like the last video, only more information. Right, tip #1. I said in the end of the last video I was going to show you the difference between a no-carb diet and a low-carb diet. I'm going to put this in a real-world terms for you guys, just so it sinks in, because I tend to find when you talk about gym stuff, some people they are too scientific, they're not interested. Have you ever known a friend that's done one of those crazy-ass celebrity diets in glossy magazines, where they tell you to stop eating carbs for 2 to 3 months at a time? 3 things happen to that friend, and they're all bad, and it's why they never get to where they want to be. The first thing which will happen, they look a bit ill, maybe even feel a bit ill. Their body needs protein, carbs, and even fat, as we showed in the last video. So to cut out any of those is a bad move, particularly for 3 months. Secondly, they might lose weight for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then they hit this big-ass brick wall, and they cannot lose any more weight no matter what the hell they do in the gym, right? A lot of people experience that. Thirdly, when they finish the diet, a lot of people don't even finish the diet, they have to quit it because they feel like they're punishing themselves. They've cut out all their favourite foods, but once you stop dieting in that way, you go back to eating normal foods again, not only do they pile all the way back on, but often they end up even worse than where they started, because their body just cannot adapt to that sudden change again, and they end up getting sucked into this nonsense bullshit cycle, just going from diet to diet to diet, and they never get results. So no carbs, honestly, is off the table. Ignore that nonsense, okay? It doesn't work long term. Low carbs, on the other hand, you're not consuming a ton of carbs, but the little bit you are makes a hell of a lot of difference compared to the people we've just discussed. There's 2 types of carbs. It's important to bear this in mind, okay? So fair enough, have a low carb diet, that's fantastic. Make sure you increase your protein, as we showed you in the last video. But when you're looking at those carbs, there's 2 types, okay? The simple carbs, which are the type that you generally find in sort of junk food, crisps, that sort of thing. Try to avoid those as much as you can if you're trying to lose fat, because they're like the enemy, sort of thing. You don't have to cut them out altogether, as we showed in the last video, but just try not to have them all the time. And there's complex carbs, which are a lot better, full of fibre. Stuff like oats, wholemeal bread, brown rice, tons. If you go on Google and type in complex carbs, you'll get a big list. There's a ton of options. And complex carbs will help you feel better, you get more results, you'll feel fuller for longer, and your body can use it more effectively. So, as well as having a low-carb diet, try and get the majority of those carbs from complex carb sources, alright? And you're on your winner straight away. Tip #2, glutamine. We've already discussed the benefits of protein and creatine and stuff, supplements. Glutamine's another one. A lot of people use glutamine mainly for muscle recovery after workouts. Truth is though, it can also increase your metabolic rate and your fat burning. So if you want to look at supplements, then glutamine's a good one. Just take that after your workout. and it's as simple as that. It's as old as protein and creatine. It's proven and it's very cheap. So if you want to apply that to your diet, feel free. It's proven it works. Tip number 3, time to grow. Notice the GH, right? What happens when you go to sleep at night, that's where your muscles grow. It doesn't happen in the gym. After you've been asleep for about an hour and a half, your body's growth hormone levels increase. And that's where you start to build a bit more lean muscle. So it's important you get enough sleep each night. But what we want to focus on here is try not to have carbs in the meal before bed, if possible. A lot of people just have a protein shake before they go to bed, or a protein-rich meal if you don't have supplements. Try to stay away from carbs, because if you've got a lot of carbs in your system when you go to sleep, it can stop your body from reaching those levels of growth hormone release, and it can actually hold you back. And as we discussed in the last video, if you're growing lean muscle, it's easier to burn fat as well. It props that metabolism up again. Helps you to burn more fat more effectively. Don't worry if you're a lady and you're watching this and thinking, growth hormone, I don't want to get big like a bodybuilder. Honestly, that's not what we mean, alright? You're not going to wake up the next day with massive thighs, big biceps. It doesn't work like that. Obviously, when you lose weight, you don't just want to lose weight, you want to lose fat, and you want to appear toned, right? So there's nothing wrong with your body releasing growth hormone. It's going to help you to get to where you want to be, basically. The more lean muscle you have, the better you're going to look, and you're not going to get massive like a bodybuilder, unless you train like that. Tip number 4, this one affects a lot of people, particularly ladies, but also a growing number of guys now as well, very image conscious, the world, like celebrity mags and stuff like that. Never emphasize cutting more calories over muscle retention. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this, people skipping meals thinking, oh, but I want to lose fat, so I'm not going to have that meal later on because I don't feel good today, I feel fat. I'm sorry, you get better results by eating that meal later on, alright? What we don't want to happen is for your body to get to a stage where you physically are not taking on enough calories per day. It's going to start burning muscle, not fat, when you do that, okay? The only time you should ever skip a meal is if you feel literally too full to eat that meal. And if you're dieting and you're eating right, you should never really feel like that. You should be looking forward to your meals every few hours, So never fall into that nonsense. That goes back to tip number 1, the celeb diet thing, the craze, the fad, next big thing diet nonsense. Never skip meals, okay, unless you physically have to. Number 5, this is the first training tip that we've put in. Actually, before we move on to number 5, can I just say, just about that thing I was saying about ladies there, they don't panic about that. That affects a lot of ladies thinking, I want to cut out this meal because I want to lose a bit more weight. If I chop my calories down more, I don't want to be like a bodybuilder. People like, female bodybuilders, you have a look at people like Jodie Marsh, they didn't get like that by accident. So you have nothing to worry about with having more protein in your diet. So unless you're training to be a bodybuilder, you ain't going to turn into one. I'm sure if you ask any of those ladies, what they think when they hear women say, oh, I don't want to do weights, or I don't want to eat protein because I'll get massive, they probably take it as an insult, because their ass is dedicated in the gym all the goddamn time, trying to build a bit more muscle. It doesn't happen overnight. So honestly, do not be afraid to just don't fall into that cycle, alright? I'm going to skip this, I'm going to skip breakfast, I'm going to skip tea. It leads you backwards rather than forwards when it comes to fat loss. Remember, you don't want to lose weight, you want to lose fat, okay? There's a massive difference. Right, number 5. This is the first training tip we've given in this series of videos. You may have heard of this high intensity interval training. It's proven for fat loss. You may have heard of something called the afterburn effect. A young guy was asking me about this a couple of months back, and he said, Russ, I did 20 minutes on the bike yesterday, burned off, I can't remember how many calories, it was like 200, 300 calories. Today I did high intensity interval training for 20 minutes, and it says I've burned off the same amount of calories, but I thought it was meant to burn more, going moderate, hard for the whole 20 minutes. And I explained to him it's an effect called the afterburn effect, you may know it as, otherwise known as EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And what happens is, yes, he's burned all them calories on the bike, but with interval training, he'll carry on burning those calories after he leaves the gym for up to 16 hours. So if you're going to do cardio, high intensity cardio is the way to go. You can also use this with weights as well. You know, don't be staying away from weights. If you're going to do weights, I would say it's definitely a good idea. Weights are great for weight loss. Okay, ignore the old myth that you're going to get huge off weights. Otherwise, every guy would look like Rambo, and they certainly don't. So, if you're going to do it with weights, don't spend ages focusing on an exercise which just works the lower part of your forearm. You know, try to focus on the basics, the compound exercises that involve a lot of muscles, and you can get a lot achieved in very little time with weights if you do that. Stuff like squats, deadlifts, bench press, shoulder press, all the big lifts. Incorporate that type of weight workout in with some high intensity interval training. You can be in and out the gym within an hour. You don't need to spend 5 hours in the gym 4 days a week to lose weight. You keep it high intensity, you'll lose a lot more fat. In terms of cardio, there was a study done a few years ago on HIIT training. We've got a more detailed video about this on our channel if you want, showing how to use HIIT training for a sport or how to use it for just pure fat loss. And they worked out that the best results came from using a cardio equivalent for 30 minutes and 4 minutes at a moderate intensity, 30 seconds maximum intensity, hard as you can go, and then keep doing that 4 minutes, 30 second cycle until your 30-minute total time has run out. And if you do that, that actually brought about really improved results versus other intensity splits, other ratios. So if you're new to it, you want to give it a try, that's a good place to start. Alright, there's 5 tips for the day. I want you to apply those with the tips we gave you last time. I'm pleased to see they're all going well. I love reading the messages, keep them coming, especially the people who've never had results before, or who've spent a lot of money on miracle products and gotten away. Suddenly they're finding it ain't rocket science, they can do it. Anyway, I've got to go and get my son, so I'll leave you guys with those tips. Send me a message on Facebook if you get stuck, or if you just want to let us know how it's going for you. We'll be back with the next 5, the final 5, in a few weeks once you've had a chance to implement these. And then by that time, already you're miles ahead of the game if you're applying these. Miles ahead of when most people just decide, oh, it's too scientific, I can't do it. You're already miles ahead of those guys, and you're already going to get results that those guys will probably not have even in 2 years from now. But when we apply the next 5, you're going to be effectively a fat burning machine. It just depends how hard you put the work in. You will get the results, alright? Search for us on Facebook, Russ How PTI. Click like, and you get all our videos every week, and you can get in touch with me in person, and I'll get back to you myself. Thank you. Bye bye.